4 years after the Great Recession officially ended, the U.S. economy still lacks momentum. This is not just the business cycle. The strains in the labor market were apparent well before the recession. The potential for future GDP growth is eroding. Today, there are 2 million fewer jobs than when the recession began, and labor force participation is at a 34-year low. But the U.S. doesn't have to settle for this sluggish growth. We've sifted through data for more than a dozen possible game changers, and we have identified 5 that could reignite America's economic engine. Some will immediately accelerate the recovery, and all of them provide a strong foundation for long-term growth and competitiveness. Shale energy. The production of natural gas and light, tight oil is already booming in places like North Dakota, Texas, and Pennsylvania, adding a potential boost of $380 to $690 billion to annual GDP and an additional 1.7 million permanent jobs by 2020. Shale energy could also reduce U.S. net energy imports to zero. But environmental risks must be mitigated to fully realize its potential. Knowledge-intensive trade. There is a significant opportunity to increase U.S. exports of knowledge-intensive goods, such as aircraft, automobiles, petrochemicals, and medical devices. Collectively, these will provide a $200 to $590 billion boost to annual GDP and create up to 1.8 million new jobs by 2020. So it's crucial to build a more competitive business environment that supports knowledge-intensive manufacturing in the U.S. Big data. New technology tools can boost productivity right across the economy. In retail and manufacturing, there is a potential increase of $325 billion to GDP by 2020. There are major cost efficiencies in healthcare and government services as well, worth up to $285 billion by 2020. Infrastructure. The U.S. needs to increase infrastructure investment by 1% of GDP annually, mainly in roads, highways, bridges, and transit and water systems. Achieving this would create up to 1.8 million new jobs and add $320 billion to GDP by 2020 and $600 billion by 2030. With improved project selection, delivery, and operation, every single dollar invested will have more impact. Talent development. The U.S. advantage in skills and education is quickly eroding. With industry-specific training, more effective degree programs, more science, technology, engineering, and math graduates, and higher-skilled immigrants, the U.S. can build a more competitive workforce. K-12 student achievement can be boosted with better and more effective teachers, school turnarounds, and digital learning tools, feasibly increasing the GDP by $265 billion by 2020, with a staggering long-term liftoff effect of $1.7 trillion in annual GDP by 2030. The path to prosperity depends in part on the federal government, but business leaders and state and local governments are able to take the lead too. What will it take to capture these opportunities? And what can you do to change the game?